Hey y'all, good to see you. So this week we're going to talk a little bit more about networked performance. This is your first duet, if you want to think of it that way, or duo or collaboration. Um, so we need to give you the right tools to do that. So far, you have OBS, you have Black Hole, you have some new tools we looked at like Web Captioner. But today I want to introduce you to a pivotal tool called LiveLab. You can see that right here, livelab.app. Did I say? I said it twice. I thought I said it 3 times. Um, LiveLab is made by Culture Hub, and Culture Hub is a organization connected to La Mama that focuses on art and technology and performance. Um, they developed this, I think, in conjunction. I think Olivia Jack is the lead developer who worked on Hydra with his online live coding tool. I think Tong Wu, who's a former ITP student, actually took the avatars class I teach maybe 2 or 3 years ago. She's one of the developers for this as well. So it's open source. It's an amazing tool. I'm happy to support it, and also I'm happy they built it because it's much needed. Um, so enough of me hyping all this up. What is it? So when you go to livelab.app, you should see a screen like this. And it says a browser-based media router for collaborative performance. Beautiful. That's exactly what we need. It's in our browser. It's a media router. If you want to think of it as a mixing studio, kind of like not that much different than what OBS does, and it's for collaborative performance. And basically what it does in like a different format is it lets us do some OBS type stuff where multiple people can be in the same room and we can switch between what people are sharing. So when I go to livelab.app, I get all this. It'll let you choose your camera. I'm going to choose my basic FaceTime HD camera. Choose my sound input. I don't want my Bluetooth headphones. I just want my MacBook Pro microphone. And I'm going to name the room. So like lip room, I'll leave it at that. And before I hit start, if you want to, you can go to settings, and it gives you a little bit more finer grain control. Like you can see right here the width and the height of my image and the frame rate. And that's probably not, this is all going to stack on top of each other for your bandwidth. So you might not want to do 1920 by 1080 necessarily. The video preview, luckily, is 640 by 480. So like balancing these things out, I think this is just your final output, maybe is what it's saying. You can also see there's an audio meter. And then this is something to keep in mind is your echo cancellation and auto gain and noise suppression. It's kind of like I taught you with Zoom and Black Hole last week, where these are great for if you're just doing your voice. It cuts out things, it balances automatically, but if you were playing music or something, this would not be the way to go, because it would be doing all sorts of weird stuff to it. So go ahead and hit save, and we'll hit start. And we get this. It doesn't look like anything except our web camera in a browser. But there's a whole little like icon kind of like tab area over here, a control panel. You can make it disappear and go away with this right here. But let's just step right through it. This first one just basically turns your video off. And the second one just mutes you. And if I come back over, you can see. Actually, I should say, I think this turns all the videos off. We'll talk about that in a bit, and it mutes everything. You can also do it individually for each one if you want. Actually, just continuing down here, this is just this independent source. If I wanted to push this out as its own little browser window, I just hit that button and it pops it out. Where things start to become a little more powerful is in this button. And it allows you to either share your entire screen, share an application window, or even share a Chrome tab. And this is basically the same thing as window capture or display capture in OBS. It just lets you do it in here. So if I add that in, let's say I do it like I have this little text edit right here. I'll share that. And now I have two different things I can choose. And I can type in this in real time. I believe it to be true. And you can add as many as you want. Here's the thing though, is like someone else can join you in this room. So if you send this link to your collaborator, and they join in, you're going to see their window, and they would be able to share any of their application windows or desktop or whatnot into here. So that's where the power of this comes from. We're kind of doing this almost like OBS, except multiple people can contribute to it with their window captures, their display captures, their video and whatnot. And just to continue on, so I had this right here, add screen share. There's also add a media stream. And this would let you basically anything that pops up as a video input in your computer, another webcam, your OBS virtual camera, which you probably won't want to use. We'll get into why in a little bit, but you can see there's going to be some feedback stuff. I would say one thing that you might want to do is like, what am I trying to say? If someone's trying to share audio, I guess you could do no video and you could do your black hole. So if you're just trying to create an audio feed that's just for not your microphone, you could do it like this. And this is where you'd want to turn off everything. And we'll just say black hole audio stream. And it's a little confusing because like there's nothing here. But like now if I wanted to have this is the video and this is the audio, I could mute myself. And then the only thing coming through here is just that. You can see this starts to get like, even just like talking about this and adding things in starts to get a little tricky as I'm trying to do it. I'm also not in a room with anyone. So you'll want to just try this with your collaborator. But basically that's where you can all share stuff. If you want to leave the call, you can hang up right here. The next thing is, it's actually the most important thing you might want to consider in this. And what you want to think about is when you're doing this collaborative performance, and maybe you use both your videos, but you want to think about who's outputting the video necessarily. I guess you could do a 2-channel performance if you want in Zoom, where you're each manipulating, but you might be thinking more about using one person computer to composite all of these things together into one visual image. And in settings, you can go here and say like, you can also do stretch to fit, or like show the real size of each of these things. See, like it starts to crop it off. So maybe just for simplicity's sake, I'll turn that off. Column layout, I think it's just a different layout feature. But the important thing is this number of output switchers. I'm gonna start with 1 for now. I'll close this. And now you see if I hover over these things, there's an A right here. And there's also this. And this is switcher A. I can make a pop-out window for switcher A. And I can assign something to switcher A. So let's assign my video here. So now there's a big A overlaying. So this is the output we want to think of. This window right here, switcher A, is like, I can also go here and switch over to here. So you can see now, if this is our output, then this is our mixing studio. Kind of like the equivalent of like, this would be the virtual cam output, or your preview window in OBS, and then all your scene selection is what's happening over here. And then what's nice is over in OBS, you can say add window capture, LiveLab switcher A. Chrome. And that's something I should have said actually. You want to use Chrome with this. I think it's LiveLab's designed to work best with Chrome. Google Chrome, switcher A, beautiful. And you might want to resize switcher A to be the right aspect ratio. And this is unfortunately where you can already see the screen space of all this is getting like totally foobarred. So it's really beneficial to have a secondary monitor if you have access to one. And it gets back into that, what's your control panel for all this like network collaboration, and where's the stuff where stuff's actually happening that you want to have more manipulation of for the performance. And in theory, only one of you needs to be the control person if you're only streaming to one video. Only one person needs to be doing the sending to OBS. And if I start the virtual camera and I hook that up to Zoom, now everybody in the class is seeing this, and you have the ability to kind of like toggle between what is in that box with your switcher. There's also, you can fade out or fade in. And then don't forget, there's I know there's the little bar here. All you have to do is go into your sources filter and add a crop. See if I try this again. Is it going to cause the same crash? Yeah, I know. I already reopened it. Now it looks like OBS is just straight up. Oh, I see. It's just hidden behind this. All right, that's interesting. If I close OBS, but I bring up the, I guess you just say close. That's odd. I've never had that before. Well, that's funny. Anyway, filter on, so I didn't know how to bring this back up. Anyway, go back to filter, crop, and I can crop out the top. Ugh, I keep hitting enter when I shouldn't. Wonderful. So as I was saying, in here, I can just toggle between what's in there or fade out. So you can see there's a lot of moving parts. You might want to just almost write down the signal flow in your head, like who's doing the OBS webcam streaming to the Zoom for the performance, what is in the LiveLab, how many switchers. That's actually something I should mention too, is you can have multiple switchers, up to 4. So B could also be one. And remember, it's just this pop-out window. You could have BB, another BB, another one that you bring in here as a filter or source, so you can have multiple sources coming in and using LiveLab. Do keep in mind the size of these windows matters. If you bring them down to this big, that's the pixel resolution that you'll be bringing into OBS, so you can't do a hack where you just make these as small as possible in order to bring them in, because once you actually, let's just show you, if you filter it back, so if I scale that back up, actually, I guess that kind of works. Oh no, you can see the pixelization. You can see it right there. So I mean, maybe it's actually not a terrible solution depending on the resolution you're trying to bring in. Does a text edit need to be 1920 by 1080? Maybe not. So anyway, and then I can fade that back up. So is there anything else in here? Just some other settings. You can just close these to make more space. Output volume, you can work with that. You technically don't even need your webcam in here, especially, if it's taking up things. But if you're trying to do it all through black hole audio, you could always mute yourself. If you want to talk, you can always start a chat. Hey, what's up, collaborator? And this will also show you everybody who's in the room, what sources they're sharing, and what the frame rate of it all is. So the frame rate and the resolution. So just keep all that in mind. Um, so like I was saying, like this is kind of the space where you and your collaborator are going to be working together, thinking about like, are you using, what you've done for the other performances. Like one of your collaborators could be running their OBS and sending weird things, and then you're collaging on top of it using this and OBS on your own stuff. Like the signal flow becomes kind of crazy. And thinking about audio too, you want to think about like how are you routing their audio into your audio output through Black Hole or using your microphone. You know, it how are they sending you audio? Do you make one stream that's just for audio, one stream that's just for visuals and the microphone? There's obviously a lot here, and like I would say, just like take a step back and think about what it is you want to do. And then once you figure out what it is you want to do, then you can figure about like how to set up the signal flow to succeed at that, rather than just like stacking things together, because there's no right or wrong way to do all these things necessarily. That's it. I think you do have to you have to set this up from scratch each time, I think. I'm not sure. Let me just see if I copy paste this room and I create a new tab, I close out of this one. I don't think it just indefinitely stays open. I do think if one person leaves and leaves the other room, and the other person stays in the room, that room will stay open. But you'll need to meet ahead of time to just set this all back up, open your windows back out again, and all that good stuff. And I guess like it's interesting, I think it leaves this LiveLab Switcher A window still here. I wonder if I reopen A. No, then you have to open it back out again. It's not like, doesn't stay connected. All right. Well, except but this does, because it has the same name here. So you should have the same sources work in OBS. So that's a bonus. All right, have fun. And I'll show you some other tutorials as well.